just in about 2 hours, there's going to be a mandatory evacuation for some of the lower lying areas of the parish. We've got Lieutenant Mathern joining us live. We appreciate your time. Tell us, what's the most new information you can tell us? You've been kind of patrolling this area in the past hour.
Well, we've gone down to the Leeville fishing pier, and LA1 is completely passable. Water is not intruding on the roadway at any point from Golden Meadow all the way to Leeville. We do expect at some point probably that we'll have water on the roadway. High tide around midnight tonight. We expect that in the early morning hours we could see some water on the road, but at this time the roadway is completely passable, and good thing too, as we have a mandatory evacuation going in place for this area at 6 o'clock tonight, so still plenty of time for people to grab what they need and be able to get out.
Kind of explain, how is this mandatory evacuation going to work? Are deputies going out and making sure people get out, or is it kind of an honor system? Kind of explain that.
No, at this point, with a mandatory evacuation for this area, there's only about 17 residents, and they pretty much know the drill. This area, we've had 6 storms now, and if memory serves me right, I think we've called a mandatory evacuation for all 6 of them this year. This area often, and the primary reason for that is because LA1 gets inundated and becomes impassable. So the residents here know that, and they ultimately just make the decision. There's only about 17 that live in this area, so they ultimately make the decision whether to leave or just kind of ride things out.
What sections of the parish are y'all most concerned about when it comes to storm surge, flooding, and water?
Well, at this point, any of the low-lying areas, specifically on the west side of the parish, obviously where we are here, below the floodgate in the South Lafourche levee system, that's a concern. And like I said, it's really not affecting a ton of residents, but in addition to the residents, we also have Port Fourchon on the southern end of the parish, which could see some water, although they haven't seen any up until this point with any of the storm threats we've had. Certainly in the Pointe-aux-Chenes area, which borders along Terrebonne Parish, and all of that area, as we move up to the Lockport area, any of those areas that kind of border the water on the west side of the parish, we hope that storm surge level kind of stays in a manageable range.
We've spoken with some people who say they are going to stay put and not evacuate. What's their options in the event of storm surge? What are they going to be able to? What's going to be the situation for them?
Well, like I said, the people in this area usually know the drill, and for the 17 or so residents that live here, they're probably just going to ride it out if they decide to stay. But obviously, if anybody, not just here, but anywhere in the parish has any issue, they can call the sheriff's office. We can definitely come out and be of assistance. If they need assistance and they're looking for a place to go ahead of time, the Lafourche Parish Office of Emergency Preparedness at Parish Government can certainly assist them in the meantime.
Touch on the resources that the parish has. High water vehicles, boats, are those on standby? And kind of explain what equipment could be used during this emergency event.
Well, we have all the equipment like that, like you said, high water vehicles, boats, airboats, anything that we may need to utilize to make any kind of rescues. Again, we don't expect the levels to get that high, but if things do change, as we know that this storm could ultimately make a little jog to the east, and then our impacts would grow as that track inches its way to the east. We know those impacts can grow, and if the worst happens that maybe we're not expecting, we are prepared to respond to any of those situations.
Wrapping up, what's your message? A lot of people on edge, they're a little anxious right now. Message to the parish for people that might be a little nervous. What do they need to be thinking about and doing right now?
Well, it's the afternoon, and as people start to get home from school and work, I think what they need to do is go around their property and make sure that everything's kind of tied down. Bring in anything that's inside, secure everything that you can. Make sure that there's nothing out there that can fly around. While we are not in a hurricane warning area, we're in the tropical storm warning area, it is possible that we get gusts up to 70 miles an hour in some portions of Lafourche Parish. So you want to make sure that you don't have anything that can become a projectile if the winds start blowing things around. If you feel comfortable with your windows going down, again, we encourage people to board up their windows if they feel like that's a necessity. They want to protect the inside of their home as well. Ultimately, whatever you feel comfortable doing is what we've been encouraged. But the main thing and the main issue that we want to make sure is people tie down there, make sure that you don't have any projectiles that can go flying around if the winds do pick up, but because that could affect your neighbors as well as your own property.
We appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Great information there. So again, Sheriff's deputies are working around the clock monitoring this weather system. That mandatory evacuation for the lower lying areas of the parish, that does go into effect at 6 o'clock.